USA Today's 10 Best. And while many festivals are either canceling or postponing their events this year, ArtsQuest is taking a different approach. So at this time, I would like to welcome ArtsQuest President and CEO Kassie Hilgert, who is joining us in studio to talk a little bit more about the 2020 festival, the highlights, and what everyone can expect. And I know safety is top priority, but let's get right to it. What is 2020 Musikfest going to bring?
Well, Christy, first of all, thank you and Service Electric. You have been with us from the beginning, so we really appreciate. Let me cut to the chase. Musikfest 2020 is going to be live music, it's going to be streaming, and it's going to be evolving. So there is much more to come besides what we announced today. But let me tell you a little bit about how we got here. Back in March, when we all had to live under stay-at-home orders, we, like so many other nonprofits, saw almost all of our revenue completely shut off. And so we all scattered to the four corners of the earth and tried to figure out what was going on as our healthcare professionals and our frontline workers managed through this crisis, and they did an amazing job. We launched pretty quickly ArtsQuest at Home, where we took a lot of our programming, whether it was educational or lunch breaks with local musicians, and put them online. And that's when we first noticed the following and the support for that and the excitement of it. And it got us thinking about it, and it reminded us a lot of 1984. When Bethlehem as a city was suffering from what they knew was going to be the loss of their largest employer, Bethlehem Steel. Now we were living in a world where the entire country, the entire world was living through the same crisis. So we quickly said, what can we as ArtsQuest do as part of our mission to connect the community and use Musikfest as a way to do that?
And I know there are a lot of questions. We are going to get to many of those as this afternoon goes along, but when you start with the different acts, we've talked about the 500 plus performances on all the different stages. What is that going to look like? And let's just cut to the chase on the main stage shows first and foremost. What's happening there? So
main stage, we are going to be moving those. I'm working with artist management right now to reschedule a number of those. Darius Rucker has already announced for his show for Musikfest 2021. So is Kelsey Ballerini. So we are in daily communication with artist management of the other shows to be able to move those for sure. We are excited that we're going to have 80 artists that are going to be performing this year, 40 right here in Service Electric, broadcast live from Service Electric all 10 days. We're going to have 40 that'll be streaming on the musikfest.org site, as well as our social media pages. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility to be able to fest at home. We're going to have opportunities with special merchandise that you can only get a special, sort of COVID Musikfest merchandise and mugs and all kinds of ways to support ArtsQuest as a nonprofit putting this on. You know, it was important for us. This festival has a $70 million economic impact to the city and to businesses. 125 small businesses and vendors depend on this festival, and so do the artists and the performers. So it was important for us to be able to put in place whatever we could to continue that. So you've got the 40 here with Service Electric, and the 40 online, and then down at Steel Stacks, we are going to have up to 10 food vendors throughout all 10 days of Musikfest, where you can come down and patronize those small businesses. And of course, we're going to be paying every artist who performs at Musikfest this year, just like every year.
And as details continue to get ironed out, I imagine there's the potential then to add additional programming and opportunities along the way as well, because we've got, close to 6 weeks until Musikfest.
Yeah, you've got 6 weeks to go, and as I said, this is going to evolve, and we've had such a great relationship with the city. We've been meeting with them weekly, watching this fluid situation change. So if we are in a green phase, for instance, we'll be able to activate the Steel Stacks campus to do some live performances with some special opportunities for people to come down there, certainly looking at the guidelines, the green guidelines, and being able to enforce social distancing, but still have some live music. So as things change, so will the festival, and I think you're going to see about an announcement a week coming from us.
Well, thank you, Kassie. I appreciate your time, and I know everyone has to be excited knowing that Musikfest is going to go on in some fashion. So I thank you, and you may exit our stage if you will, and we'll have another guest coming on here, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Christy.
All right, well, Musikfest annually does welcome more than 400 artists from across the nation and around the globe, and there is a person who's responsible for booking each one of those bands, the singer-songwriters, and that entire lineup each and every year, and that is Chief Programming Officer of ArtsQuest, Patrick Brogan, who is also here to join us in studio. And Patrick, thanks for being here. What can fans expect as it relates to music?
Well, we're looking forward to our virtual Musikfest, our Service Electric Musikfest, and potentially seeing what happens as we go to the green phase with anything live and in person. But As far as the music, we're looking at, as Kassie mentioned, more than 80 performances over the course of the 10 days of Musikfest. Some of them through here at Service Electric, and some of the acts that audiences that tune into Service Electric throughout the festival enjoy. Like, and we'll say a couple names, Jimmy and the Parrots, and You, the Sofa Kings, Philly Funk Authority, some party bands like that, some polka bands as well, Fritz's Polka Band, and a whole lot more. We're looking forward to broadcasting live sets from here in the Service Electric studios. Another element of the festival that people enjoy is the music discovery of a great diversity of acts, some from the community and some from across the nation. So we're looking forward to bringing a lot of those artists in as well through our virtual platform on our live streams. And we have some artists confirmed for that too, from nationally touring acts like KT Tunstall, you know her from Black Horse and a Cherry Tree, and Adam Weiner of Low Cut Connie, to some local artists as well, like Craig Thatcher and Nike will be doing some acoustic sets for us, as well as Slingshot Dakota, an indie rock band. So a number of acts that span the diversity that folks are used to seeing at Musikfest across different platforms.
Now, ArtsQuest provides so many performance opportunities to musicians over the course of the year, 700 plus. How much did that factor in to finding a way to continue with Musikfest this summer?
Great question, and we're looking to answer that with opportunities for artists and opportunities for audience as well. And with artists, we're looking to pay every artist that's playing the festival. They've been hit hard by this, just as we have as a nonprofit at ArtsQuest. The music industry in general the live concert business has really taken its toll on the whole business. And so our commitment, ArtsQuest commitment to paying artists for their art continues through this, as well as the ability to broaden the audience base for an artist, both here in the Lehigh Valley, as well as the platforms we'll be putting them on that can spread them, take Musikfest out nationwide into the world. Maybe perhaps folks couldn't get to Bethlehem in the past. Now you can see it on our social media platforms and our website. You can enjoy the discovery of artists that you've never heard of before, possibly, but they become your favorite on your Spotify playlist. And
we here at Service Electric are looking forward to welcoming many of our favorites, as we talked about bands, some new performers. But I think that it's going to be really unique, and I know in talking to our staff too, we're going to work to really create that authentic Musikfest feel, albeit not in downtown Bethlehem, still in Bethlehem, right here on our campus.
And you'll see that reflected in the diversity of the acts as well. There's 17 stages at Musikfest that all present a diverse array of artists. And so from polka to pop, Celtic to Cuban, and hip hop to singer-songwriters, you'll see the diversity that audiences have come to know and appreciate on the Musikfest stages reflected in the lineup.
When it comes to Musikfest, it's music 1A and food 1B, right? It's pretty even.
Indeed.
So how can people out there get their Musikfest food? Because we did not forget about that.
Indeed, and the food element is critical to Musikfest as well. We will have the opportunity to host some of your favorite food vendors on site at the Steel Stacks campus, and audiences will be able to come down and order some of the favorites. So if it's the island noodles you're looking for, and we will be making more announcements about some of your festival favorites that will be available for pickup, and hopefully by then you can enjoy some of the streaming options right there on the Levitt lawn as you take in some of it, and we'll see if we can do anything live.
So ideally, you head down to Steel Stacks, you get your food, you get your drink, you go home, and you watch on Service Electric.
Indeed.
We've got it all figured out for you, folks. We've got 6 weeks, and we've already got the main details. But speaking of the time between now and then, we expect more programming announcements, more bands, and more commitments as we go along.
Correct. We will be announcing on a weekly basis as we go leading up to it. It's a very fluid situation for us and the staff, too, as we work to navigate these unprecedented times.
Well, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate it. I know you've got your work cut out for you.
Indeed, we got to go back to booking.
Get back to work. All right. Well, of course, Musikfest couldn't take place without the support of so many, including the city and all of its departments in Bethlehem. ArtsQuest and the city working very closely to plan the festival each and every year. And believe it or not, this year is no exception. And someone who has been very instrumental in that department is Mayor Bob Donchez. Welcome. Thanks for being here at Service Electric, and
Pleasure being here.
We're looking forward to Musikfest.
I am too. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit first about what type of impact Musikfest has on the city of Bethlehem each year.
Well, Musikfest is very important, not just for the city of Bethlehem, but for the whole Lehigh Valley. I mean, last year was almost 1.2 million people that came into the city, and there's an economic benefit for restaurants, hotels, and small businesses. So it's really very important for the Lehigh Valley, not just for the city of Bethlehem.
What were some of the biggest considerations in terms of moving forward with this year's festival in this fashion?
Well, this year has just been unbelievable the last 4 months with the pandemic and everything else. But we have a great partnership, a great relationship with Musikfest. We meet throughout the year, even in normal times. But you know, this has been a challenge in a sense, and especially with the governor's guidelines. We work very closely with the CDC and following the governor's guidelines. But we've planned what we believe will be a very different music fest, a virtual music fest. And we're hoping that the public will support it and support the businesses and the vendors, because economically it's very important for the vendors too and small businesses. So hopefully we'll be successful, but we have a great partnership with Kassie and everyone at Musikfest, and we work very closely with them.
You've been in this area a while,
Long time.
you have to imagine that is what people are going to do, rally
Right.
around Musikfest this
Right.
year.
I hope so.
And what sort of impact can this festival, albeit different, still have on the community?
Well, I think, you know, it's going to be different. But hopefully they'll get involved and they'll support the vendors and small businesses and Musikfest. And, you know, we're a city of the arts. We're a city of tourism. We have 125 festivals a year. Obviously none as large as Musikfest, which last year was 1.2 million people. But I think that, you know, Bethlehem is a great place. It gives us the opportunity to showcase the city. It gives us the opportunity to let people see what we have with music and the arts and our great colleges, etc. And hopefully they'll come back and visit. We've got great quality of life. And it's just a great 10 days. And hopefully in normal times, the weather would be great, but hopefully we'll have a great 10 days this time.
It's anything but normal, but we are still going to be able to enjoy Musikfest, and that is key. Do you have a favorite memory over the years before I let you go?
I'm going to date myself. I remember one of the largest shows when it was at Moravian College Field, and I think it was Ray Charles, if I remember right, that had about 22,000 people, and it was an unbelievably muggy night. But I enjoyed the festival, but one of my favorite places on the Steel Stakes campus is I really enjoyed the Levitt Pavilion. I enjoy just going down on a weekend and watching shows. The Levitt Pavilion really has become like town square in the city of Bethlehem. You know, it could be 5,000 people, 3,000 to 5,000 people there, but that is the place where people really go. So we're very fortunate to have Steel Stacks Musikfest at ArtsQuest.
Yeah, we are fortunate to have your support, of course, as well,
Thank
and we
you.
appreciate the time. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And I know everyone has a different favorite plots or stage at Musikfest. We are really working to reconfigure some things here at Service Electric to bring you that authentic feel of fest plots. So stay tuned, because we've got some ideas. Our crew has been working very hard, and we are excited for sure to be a part of it. And most people know Musikfest is not possible without its 1,600 plus volunteers, and there are so many others who lend a hand, like corporate, community partners, and ArtsQuest 3,300 supporting members. So I'd like to welcome ArtsQuest Chief Operating Officer Curt Mosel to talk a little bit about how those groups are going to be and are already supporting Musikfest this summer.
Sure, thanks very much, Christy. You know, when this pandemic hit, it was something that our staff immediately reacted to. We got on the phone, we were calling members, we were calling volunteers, we were calling sponsors. We were checking in with them to see how they were doing, and really just wanted to engage the relationships. And as time went on and we realized that Musikfest was going to be a challenge to do as it had happened in the past, we started having conversations with them, letting them know that ArtsQuest had stopped doing all programming, and that was really going to be a challenge. And we needed their support more than ever. And you know, Service Electric, you guys obviously stepped up. The folks from the Yuengling Brewery and so many other partners, when we started having these conversations, said, yep, we're in. You know, I clearly remember having a conversation with Lori Hackett at Air Products, who I'm sure many of your viewers know. And she said, whatever you do, don't even worry about it. You guys have our full support. And knowing that gave our teams momentum to start having more conversations and you know, making more phone calls. Members have stepped up and renewed without even knowing what their benefits were. So you know, it's a huge credit to our team, because they rallied around each other and got really active, but the community support and outreach to us has been truly amazing.
Well, I know what Service Electric is doing in terms of reconfiguring and trying to create some stages here and taking safety precautions in mind, but what are some ways that partners are contributing in kind of a unique way this year?
Sure. We're going to have some really fun contests, and you'll see those get unveiled in the next couple weeks. But you know, the folks at Yuengling came to us right away, and they had just launched a new beer called Flight. So Flight is taking off at Musikfest this year on opening night. They're going to be the opening day sponsor, and it'll be tied to some promotions. But you know, things like that, getting engaged with the festival, and they come to us with their ideas, and sometimes they turn into programming. The folks at PNC Bank came to us and said, John Lunger is always out there, our marketing director, sampling food items and things like that. So we have created a music feast promotion with John that the PNC folks will be promoting and pushing out as well. So fun stuff that the festival is known for, and certainly the creativity of our partners that are marketing their brands all year round, all over the country in some cases, coming together to put some fun things together.
I'm sure John had nothing to do with that either, right? A feast for
not at
himself
all.
with Musikfest food? It doesn't sound like John
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
perfect.
I know you guys really appreciate the support from all of these corporate sponsors, the volunteers and everybody. It wouldn't be possible without that each and every year. But what about small businesses? Is that a two-way street of support from your perspective?
It absolutely is. And you know, the economic impact of Musikfest helps a lot of small businesses on Main Street and beyond, hotels everywhere. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything we could to fulfill those commitments. And from what Patrick was talking about earlier with the curbside that we're doing now that's going to expand to 10 or 12 restaurants, those are all small businesses. And we're going to be setting them up to come down and help make money at a time when a lot of them haven't been able to do anything. When you look at the artists that are going to be performing at Musikfest, they're independent contractors that aren't making money right now. So we're so excited and proud to be able to support them. And then you look at some of the businesses on Main Street, whether they're restaurants or retail, we're putting together specific packages where they can sell Musikfest mugs. You know, restaurants that are open, they want people to come in and watch Service Electric and Fest. And they're all going to do it safely, and they're all going to do it with Musikfest mugs in everybody's hands. And that's awesome because they're supporting us, we're supporting them, and it's a really symbiotic relationship. So we're trying to do that with as many folks as we can in any way creatively possible.
And I know there's an awful lot of work to do and details to be ironed out for the 2020 festival. Let's start there. But what can the community, while we have them here, do to support bring back the festival, hopefully in a more traditional form in 2021?
Sure, that's a great question. You know, we're going to have a lot of opportunities that we'll be promoting where if folks say, I want to donate, they'll have that opportunity to donate. If they love some of our gear and things like that, we're creating some really creative gear that they can make specific levels of donation to. And for example, we're going to be creating a special type of Musikfest mug that's different than the one we've had out. And for a certain donation level, you'll get a mug, or at another level, you'll get 2 of them. And there'll only be a limited amount of them. So it'll be really kind of cool and special. And those folks, you know, for years to come, will be able to show that with pride of how they've been able to support the festival keeping going. And you know, the conversations we've been having with people have been amazing. And you know, we'll be doing a lot of promotion of this, but they can reach out to us at any time if they want to have a conversation about how they can help.
And I know it's a fluid situation, and we, of course, have to take all the safety protocols into play with all of this, all these decisions. But we know that you guys are working really hard and being creative along the way, so we appreciate that. Looking forward to get the limited edition mug, too.
Absolutely.
Can't Musikfest without a mug, right?
Without a doubt.
All right. Well, thank you, Curt, for the time, and thanks for joining us. Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much for having me, Christy. This is great.
Of course. And we're looking forward to having an awful lot of music coming our way here on Service Electric. Being a part of Musikfest for the last 36 years, and one of the partners who's continuing to work with the festival as well has been a partner with ArtsQuest the past decade, DG Yuengling and Son. And at this time, I'd like to welcome a member of the family in Debbie Yuengling of Yuengling Beer. So I know everyone knows what they want to fill their mug with. Yuengling is the choice, hopefully, for most out there. How does Musikfest compare to some of the other events that you are involved in as a family in the region?
So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I am with Yuengling's. Yuengling is America's oldest brewery. We're located up in Pottsville, which is about an hour west of here. And we have partnered with ArtsQuest for the last couple years. Musikfest has been around for so many years, and it's a big part of this community. The Lehigh Valley is one of our big supporters. The consumers, the businesses, everyone has been there for us throughout our time of selling the beer. So it's our way of giving back. So obviously times are changing right now. We have to be creative. We have to be inventive with different ways to hold this. The Musikfest committee, to do this virtually is phenomenal, and I think it's awesome that we're still able to be a part of it. You can listen to your music and still celebrate with a beer.
Yeah, what went into that consideration, and why was it so important to stay involved despite the changes that, you know, really had to go into effect this year?
Staying involved is still helping and supporting the businesses because they're hurting right now with all of this. So it's hard for people to go out. You can't go into the bar and have a beer right now. our consumers are used to going in, having a traditional lager. As they mentioned earlier, we just came out with a new flight by Yuengling. So we have an upscale light beer, low in carbs, low in calories, and it's something that we want our consumers to enjoy, be out there in the summer, have it with the music, and now they can have their dance party at home, have the beer, and still celebrate and support the local community and their businesses.
Out of curiosity, what goes into developing a new beer, and how long does that process take to be ready just in time? A year,
yeah.
okay.
It takes almost a year till we put that together. But we looked at our portfolio, and we have the traditional lager, we have a light lager, we have the new Golden Pilsner that was out, and we have a Black and Tan. Those are our 4 core brands, and we just felt consumers were looking for that low-carb, light beer, something that fit into their lifestyle. So that was a new beer that we came out with. So we're excited for everyone to celebrate with that this summer.
And finally, I know you're a family-owned business, so did that factor at all into the decision to find a way to continue to support ArtsQuest and Musikfest and the surrounding communities as well?
It does. We are family-owned and operated, as I said, a little over 190 years, and it means a lot to us seeing these businesses right now struggling. You know, they can't have the consumers going in, patronizing it. So it was something that we wanted to do, continue our partnership, support the local businesses, and we're happy to be staying with them this summer.
And do you have a favorite Musikfest memory?
I went to college at Moravian.
Okay.
So all 4 years, Musikfest was a big part of our summers, going down, partaking in some of the beers, kind of sneaking into some of the beer gardens. I lived down there the one summer, so I just have fond memories of it, and then taking my kids back now too. So it's just such an important event for the community. I'm thrilled that we can continue with it.
And we're looking forward to creating many more memories in 2020.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us, Debbie Yuengling, and I know you're a proud sponsor, and we appreciate your support.
For sure. Thank you. Thanks
You're
for having me.
welcome. Thank you. All right. Well, of course, when you think about Musikfest, it really comes down to the music, folks. We all have our favorites, and every year I think it's really neat to be able to find some new favorites. And I know they're working very hard to create a new and innovative lineup. We're doing things differently virtually and potentially as things maybe change in the reopening phase, maybe some in-person concerts. So I would like to introduce a member of the musician family as it relates to Musikfest in Billy Bauer. He grew up here. He has performed at Musikfest and Steel Stacks over 40 times over the past decade and will, of course, be a part of the festival once again this year. We are pleased to have you in studio. Billy, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here.
And you don't go anywhere without your guitar, right?
Yes. And all these wires dangling on me right now.
Hey, it's the nature of the business.
Yeah.
Everyone has been affected, obviously, by the pandemic. From your perspective as a musician, can you give us some insight on how it's affected you?
I mean, like the music community as a whole, we've been crushed. You know, so I lost a big part of my income, but it kind of like pales in comparison to a lot of other musicians right now too. I'm lucky. I'm up at Martin Guitar, and they've been awesome through all this. And you know, you just hope that we can get back to normal sooner or later, start kicking again.
Is it encouraging to see what ArtsQuest and Musikfest is doing, though, finding an alternative way to bring the festival to everyone and to the musicians?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We got to just try to support each other through this, and ArtsQuest has been amazing. So, you know, I'm down to play in any way possible.
And how have you seen music make a difference in these trying times? Everyone's going through something, some more than others, but have you still seen it have an impact even though the live concerts maybe aren't happening right now?
Yeah, there's nothing going on in the world, you know, so music, you know, it brings people together, and music, when there's no baseball and there's no football on TV and there's nowhere to go, it's like I'm lucky that we have like technology where we could at least maybe brighten somebody's day.
And for you, what keeps you coming back to Musikfest each and every year? I know everyone, many people out there are very familiar with your music and your talent. So what is it that keeps you coming back?
I love Musikfest. It's like our home territory, and it's where we grew up. And it's always great to have an unbelievable PA system to play through and crank it up for a night and let people have some fun. Yeah.
Well, if you couldn't tell, folks, he is going to play a song for us. So can you tell us about that song and what we're going to hear to close out the show?
This is a song I wrote. It's newer. It's about a year or so old, but it's kind of about overcoming hardships, essentially, which is what we're all in right now. So it's kind of ironic, but it's about don't give up on your good fight, you know. because there will be, you know, better days, hopefully.
Very appropriate lesson for all of us to live by right now, and I know Musikfest is certainly doing that. We appreciate you tuning in, looking forward to the 2020 festival kicking off on July 31st, and Service Electric very excited to be able to be bringing that to our viewers' homes, and I know ArtsQuest are very excited to have the support of everyone at home right now. And to wrap things up, I am going to hand things over to Billy Bauer, so please enjoy, and everybody looking forward to Musikfest 2020.
You can walk in the darkness with the devil. You can dance with his angels in your hands. And warm those hands by his fire. And the scars will show you where you've been. You've been on the long road, good friend, and baptized by good John's light. Then the water rolls off your face and it crashes to the ground, and you feel your soul centering the good times, the good times. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up, no. The grip will get you good, it's all wrapped up around your mind and tangled up and twisted, you see. You can't start in the middle, you gotta find the very first tree. Then one burn it to the ground and watch the ashes fall around you, my friend. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up, no. It's got no power on you. It's got no power on you. It's got no power on you. It's got no power on you, my friend. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fighting, no. Love, keep upright, don't you give up the good fight. And love, keep upright, don't give up, no.
There we go. It always goes away in like 5 seconds.